First, Trump passed a law where you can't buy junk food with food stamps no more. Now, Trump is proposing a plan to cut the Section 8 budget by $26.8 million. This means millions of people will be homeless in the U.S. And I mean homeless too, because the shelters finna be overcrowded and you can't get in where you fit in at when it's already overpacked with people that ain't on Section 8, and which will result in an immediate increase in violent crimes. Right now, it's about 2.3 million low-income households and over 5 million people living in Section 8 households. Now, if this bill is passed by Congress, the single mothers will be forced to the streets. Do y'all think Trump took a late night ride through the hood over there in O Block, or over down here in Miami by the Poker Bean, or over there goddamn Cali, Crenshaw somewhere, and saw them G-Wagons and them goddamn Range Rovers y'all be having parked in front of y'all Section 8 apartments? Do y'all think he done found out y'all got men living in them goddamn Section 8 houses illegally? Or do y'all think he trying to push people to stop depending on Uncle Sam and start trying to become a homeowner? Now, you do know it's illegal to be homeless in America. You can definitely go to jail for trespassing on other people's property. So I wonder what's gonna happen if they evict people out their Section 8 houses and they ain't got nowhere for them to go. It makes you wonder, where the hell them tax dollars going? Cause they cutting everything but their own pockets. And I wonder what the elderly gonna do, what the disabled gonna do, and what about them veterans that served in the service for the U.S. that's on Section 8 right now? What about the people that depended on that from yay high up until today now, and now they told they gotta get out? Bye. What they gonna do, especially those with dementia, Alzheimer's, that ain't got no family members left to shack up with? What they gonna do? If people out here stealing milk, eggs, and Pampers to survive, can you imagine what they gonna do when they become homeless? But I'm gonna tell you what I'm about to do. I'm finna go in there and put on my clothes and go to the goddamn shop and buy me some more choppers, cause it's about to get crazy out here. Y'all.
All right, Shalom. Welcome back to another lesson. Before I get started, I'm going to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, who the world calls God, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, in the name of the Vakakwadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, love, and salutation as always to the elect scattered abroad, to you, Akim, preaching his word in truth and in sincerity, while lifting the standard of Yahweh Yahushai, as well as your few sincere Aqua, listening and learning in silence. To you all, I say Shalom. It's your fellow servant Malachiah, back with another lesson, Lord willing, to be edified to the hopeful elect. All right, as you can see, Section 8 could possibly be no more, okay? And that's going to take a major hit on the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, that are, in the projects, in the Section 8 housing, public housing, all of that, okay? What this could potentially do, this is a multi-layered effect. It could be a multi-layered effect, okay? It can cause many, of these families to become homeless, and then it could cause, these families and these people in these neighborhoods to riot, go on strike, cause an uproar, okay? And we know how, the government gets down, order out of chaos. That's their motto, okay? So this comes to no surprise that this is another executive order that they're looking into signing now, okay? And we already know that Trump his pen game has been strong lately. He's been signing shit left to right, okay? But, ultimately what this is the Lord, bringing humility to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, because they've been living deliciously, luxuriously, even in Section 8 housing, man, public housing, because you got these women, they lay up and have kids and the so-called white man pays them to just sit there and make nothing of themselves. Okay, I'm not saying that this is everybody in the Section 8 housing and public housing, but for the most part, you actually have, women who lay down and have kids, man, just to have an apartment, to get EBT, to get WIC, and these different, you know, welfare and government assistances, man. And it's sick. It's sickening, man, that, our people would limit themselves from aspiring to be much more in life. They just limit themselves to just being, a single parent in the projects, man. Okay, these women, like Nino Brown said, you know, he made a lot of good points. You know, you pull up to the projects and you see damn foreign cars out there and shit, man. BMWs and all kind of shit. You know, you got the women, uh, uh, you know, getting the food stamps and getting the Section 8 housing and laying up with all different type of men in the household. Okay, just doing what the hell ever. It's written in the scriptures that the Lord would bring, the arrogancy and the pride low here in these last days. Okay, the Lord is getting ready to humble the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, especially the women, right? Because, like I said before, plenty of times, the women, they're living luxuriously, man. All right, they're having their way right now, so to speak. All right, Eve is the only creature that can, you know, have a baby irresponsibly, okay, and get rewarded for it. All right. When Jake, when a child support case is brought up on him, he's held accountable to the highest regard. Okay. They go after him. They go after his job. They make him pay. They make him pay back pay if he's found to be one of those fathers that have not been in the life of the child, or whatever, man, whatever the case may be. They pursue Jake to the highest extent and make his ass damn be responsible and make him be a father in that child's life, man. Okay, really financially, because they don't give a damn about the father actually being there to raise the child. Okay, they care about breaking the damn pockets, man. All right, but anyway, like I said, this is of the Lord, man. Okay, and Adawan Ratazah, they passed this, man. Because like I said, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are too comfortable, man. All right, the Lord has to put these people in a position to where they're either going to call upon the Lord, all right, for help, or they're going to conform to the ways that the world is going into, man, which is that new world order, that new age technology, and which is going to ultimately lead to the MOTB, man. All right, and that's what the so-called white man wants to do anyway, man. He wants to put a squeeze on the American citizens to get them in an uncomfortable situation, in a predicament, to where they're going to have to depend on him, okay, to come in and play the hero. That's exactly what he wants. He wants order out of chaos. So he's going to cause the chaos, and he's going to bring about the so-called quote-unquote order. Without further ado, let's grab this article real quick. I'll bring a couple precepts, and I'm going to get in and get out. All right. It says a White House proposes elimination of Section 8 housing vouchers. It says the potential elimination of Section 8 housing vouchers and roughly 40% cuts to rental assistance were included in a recent White House request to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It says the cuts, first reported by NPR, target core HUD programs like Section 8 vouchers, replacing them with block grants to states. Okay, you can look in to it further. Okay, but the main point is that they're talking about cutting, okay, the Section 8 housing, man. All right. And like I said, that's going to cause a lot of people to become homeless, a lot of people to, start an uproar, and it's going to cause a lot of them to be, basically stuck between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. Okay, and that's exactly what a so-called white man wants them. They're going to be the first volunteers to get down with what's about to come, and we know what that is, man. Okay, we know what that is. So let's go to the book of Hosea, all right? Because the first thing I thought about is, man, these women, okay? Because like I said, that's the majority of who occupies the Section 8 in public housing, the so-called black woman, okay? Her glory is about to be turned into shame, man, all right? Right before her very eyes. The humbling of these so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American women is about to happen right before our very eyes, okay? And not just the women, man, the men too, okay? But the Lord is getting ready to deal righteously in the earth right now. This is Hosea 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sin against me. We know, uh, the scripture says, menstruous women, meaning unclean, shall bring forth monsters here in these last days. And we're seeing that with these YNs and, this young crash out culture, man. Okay, I just seen a video where Jake got caught skipping school by his mom. All right, and she said, why you not, caring about school? Why you don't care about school? The young Jake, said, all I care about is catching hats. So these kids are admitting to, only caring about murder, only care about crashing out, okay? Only care about switches, okay? So, that scriptures, is shown to be true, man. That these women have brought forth monsters in these last days. They're disobedient. They have no regard for authority. None of that. Okay, so the Lord has to bring a righteous order back into the earth. And the only way to do that is to wipe, you know, these jakes out, man. This is verse 7 from the top. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. Okay, and that puts me in the mind of that Isaiah, the 30th chapter, man. Okay, because what's going to be their shame? The fact that they trusted in their system, the fact that they made flesh their arm. Okay, the fact that more specifically they put their trust in the so-called white man. Okay, because he's been their caretaker this whole while. He's been the man in the household. Okay, the so-called white man has removed the so-called black man, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American man out of the household and established himself in the households by giving the women welfare, uh, food stamps, WIC, you know, all of these things that seem like gifts. Okay, and we're going to get into that too. This is Isaiah 30 in verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh Shai, and take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with their covering, but not of my spirit. All right, they covered with the covering of Babylon the Great. Okay, they have put on the ways and conform to the ways of society. All right, which is ultimately the so-called white man's ways. Okay, because he's in rulership. Pursuant to Job 9 and 24, it says, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt. Okay, in America, it's spiritual Egypt. Right? You can read about that when you go to Revelation, the 11th chapter. All right, verse 8. Verse 2 from the top it says that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. All right, the strength that you thought that the so-called white man had, okay, is going to be to your shame. Okay, because like I said in my previous lesson about Eve, all right, the so-called black woman, it's just a westernized woman in general. She's attracted to power. Okay, and right now it seems as if it is what it is. All right, it doesn't even seem. Okay, the so-called white man does have the power right now. He has the military. He has the money. Okay, he has shit on lock right now. Okay, can't even lie about that. Okay, so the so-called westernized nigger woman, all right, she's attracted to power. All right, so the so-called white man having that power, they're gonna put their trust in him. All right, they're gonna listen to what he has to say. They're not gonna raise their voice at the so-called white man. They're gonna be submissive. All right, Jake, to the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American man, these women, submitting to an Israelite man is the last thing these women are gonna do. All right, but without even asking, they'll submit to the so-called white man. Okay, so that's exactly why the Lord said, the strength of Pharaoh, all right, the strength of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is going to be your shame, man. All right. It says, in the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion, all right, trusting in Babylon the Great, trusting in the system that he has set up is just an illusion, man. This, this illusion uh, that you have free will, that you could just go to and fro, do it as you please, without any consequence, man. All right. Your consequence is getting ready to come upon you. Okay. You're getting ready to have to pay for trusting in this devil, trusting in his system, right? Making flesh your arm, man. All right. Let's go to Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 5. It says, "Thus said the Lord Yahweh Shai, cursed be the man that trusteth in man." All right, because man is going to fail you. Okay. We just read that, your trust in man is getting ready to be your shame. It's getting ready to be your downfall. All right. It says, "Thus said the Lord Yahweh Shai, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord." Okay? And these women, their hearts have departed from the Lord, man. That's exactly why when you go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 7, it says, oppression make a wise man mad, and what? A gift destroyeth the heart. And that heart, and that is going into, love, meaning your mind. Okay, so a gift, a bribe, is going to destroy your mind, man. Okay, because you're not gonna be focused on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You're not gonna be reverencing Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. If the so-called white man is giving you everything you need, you're gonna feel like there's no need for you to go to the Heavenly Father, man. Okay, you're leaning away from wisdom and understanding, all right? Because wisdom and understanding grants you the ability to understand, all right, the knowledge to know that if it wasn't for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you wouldn't be up living another 24 hours. Okay, you wouldn't be in your right mind. Okay, so that's why it's imperative to stay away from bribes and gifts, especially from the devil, man. Okay, and we see an example of that in the truth. The 501c3 is a gift that some of these camps have taken, man. And we see how it has destroyed their hearts, man, their minds. They going off the edge, man. All right. But hey, like I said, the Lord, is cold, and he's setting a lot of people up for a big play, man. Okay. And what we seeing getting ready to take place is a great humbling, all right, of the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American man and woman, man. All right. But keep your eyes peeled for that. If they pass this thing, that's going to be crazy. It's going to be uproars. People are going to lose their fucking mind, man. All right. These women, these hyenas are going to go crazy and stampede in the damn streets, man. All right. Hold on to your shit, man. It might be looting and all kind of damn shit. All right. But just like I said, just a little update, man. All right. Keep your eyes peeled. All right. Big things are happening, Executive orders are being signed, and Yahweh should be our shy is showing out, man. All right. With that, I'm gonna give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Till next time, I say Shalom. Wa Abba Babal.